Jesus.
5, 4,
You gotta do it like iCarly, though.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3.
I
I
know.
know. You see.
Okay, so we were talking about doing a like sort of full recap from the beginning, just so that everybody, because it has been we've been speed running a little bit. So you all started off in the town of Bryn Chandler. And so the first thing that happened, if you remember way back when, over a month ago at this point, was that there's that big giant attack where you guys all were controlling those other NPCs.
Yeah.
And so, and the giants were sieging on the town, and it became clear that they were looking for a man named Artist Simber. I'm going to put names in the chat as I go as well, so that you all get them. Artist Simber turns out to be the father of a man named Sirik, who Danny's character is intimately familiar with. And Artist Simber had dropped off Sirik and Mannequin number 5 in Bryn Chandler quite some time ago at this point. So in all of the chaos, our wonderful warlock Breeze was able to locate a document while in hiding with Devessa Shane. I'll put her in there too, just because she's somewhere relevant. Devessa Shane, kind of showing that, oh yeah, Artist Simber had to come through here many years ago, but he is gone now. But this person, Sirik, was there. And it turns out that the Giants were looking for an artifact called the Ring of Winter, which is basically makes the wearer immortal. And that Ring of Winter was theoretically in Artist Simber's grasp. He owns it. So there's a standoff between Sirik and these Frost Giants. It was revealed that Artist Simber was his last known location, at least as far as Sirik knew, was in Waterdeep, which is way down here. And so the Frost Giants set off, left Bryn Chandler, not a total wreck, but not definitely in a state of disrepair, to eventually try to hunt down Artist Simber in Waterdeep. Meanwhile, a number of other people from the town kind of came forward, most of them being the NPCs that you all were in control of in that first fight. Kind of came forward and gave you some separate quests, some of them also being in Waterdeep. So I believe Duvessa Shane has an aunt that has a ship docked in Waterdeep currently, so she wants you to go check on her. And the other main one was Augric Brighthelm, who became the sort of sheriff of the town. Wanted you to go and attempt to get reinforcements from a place called Ironmaster, which was across Icewind Dale, which is kind of the name of this entire region. And so you first, after checking on the rest of 10 towns, which is what Bryn Chandler is a part of, you all went over to Ironmaster, led by our wonderful ranger Nemo Winterbelly, across the icy plains, convinced the Council of Elders in Ironmaster. This is the part that was kind of elided because we had a weird session where people weren't here, to send troops to reinforce Bryn Chandler against an incoming barbarian invasion from the what are known as the Uthgard barbarian tribes, which are you don't need to care about this, but they are, I think, tiger, elk, wolf, and bear. So you, once again, Nemo Winterbelly led you all back across, kind of taking the same route, except having to circumnavigate around this ancient white dragon.
You're wrong.
Yeah, back to Bryn Chandler, where you successfully held off this barbarian incursion. You're now considered heroes of Bryn Chandler, and were rewarded with these gems that were a symbol that you are a friend and esteemed, respected person in the eyes of the Brighthelm clan, which is useful because Augric Brighthelm has a distant relative in the town of Fireshear, who's known for raising griffins and training people to ride them. And her name, let me get that exactly right for you.
And who was she related to?
She's related to Augric Brighthelm.
Okay.
Who is it's basically thus far everything is related to this one family, this dwarven clan, the Brighthelms. So this is the Griffin trainer. So say that again, Josh. I'm sorry.
Is that where we left off last time?
Yep. So you guys last session were you began the process of learning to ride these griffins. Does anybody have any questions?
That was pretty comprehensive. I dug that.
So all we did after leaving Bryn Shundair was go to Ironmaster, get reinforcements, come back and fight the barbarians.
Yep. That was that whole thing. There were a couple encounters, if you remember, in the middle. There's an encounter with a hag, with a number of burrowing ice creatures. Oh, I wasn't completely comprehensive, Cameron, because I did forget one small thing. On your way from Bryn Shundair down to Fireshear, after the battle with the barbarians, you stopped in Hundlestone, which is a small town on the way. Right there, where you met up with a gnomish gentleman who I believe was going by the name Thwarp. And he revealed that he was working with the Harpers, which are a sort of secret organization across Faerun, and that they had been investigating Lord Neverember. Actually, I have a handout for him, so I might as well just give that to you right now. He's pretty awesome looking, in my opinion.
And they've been investigating. I'm sorry, I'm typing at the same time.
Yeah. A man named Dagult Neverember, who is the current, basically like king, essentially, of the city of Neverwinter. So
Talk about daddy material.
yeah. Dagult Neverember, and he was previously the Open Lord of Waterdeep as well, but he was ousted from his position due to several political scandals. And so now he is currently sort of bolstering Neverwinter to try and be a rival to Waterdeep, essentially, and eventually surpass it. You also, the person let slip that they are pretty confident that the Dagult Neverember has been murdering people who claim to be the actual rightful heirs to the throne in Neverwinter.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why they have been sort of investigating him, but it's really tough for them to actually make a move against him because he has so many political connections. There we go. That's everything, I think.
All right.
That was very comprehensive.
I've been getting better at writing notes while I run. It's a challenge, but it's useful. Although technically all of this is recorded, so I could just listen back later, I guess. But that's
That'd
so
be a
much work.
nightmare.
Plus, I don't like hearing my own voice.
I hate it. Oh my god, it kills me.
Yeah.
I'm fine with my voice talking. I can't handle like singing or anything. Ugh.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we left off, I think, with you all being trained to ride these griffins by Deshara Brighthelm. And I believe Nemo Winterbelly had a sort of close encounter, dangerous one where his griffin took off over the water. But there was a cool cinematic bonding moment over the water. So I guess my question is, what's next? So obviously, as esteemed as you are, Deshar is not going to let you like just have these griffins. I mean, you could maybe buy them for a bit more money down the line, but for now, she's more than happy to accompany you, and you can fly them to get to pretty to different locations in the area. If you see, I added a couple other places as well that we were talking about the map. So like Mirabar is a dwarven city. That's pretty close. Obviously, Luskin would definitely be close enough. Bryn Shondair, probably actually as far south as Neverwinter should be willing to let you to sort of, what's the word I want, guide you to on these griffins, which would save you a pretty decent amount of time traveling. Because if you look at distances, not snap to center, I don't want any snapping. Like even, yeah, right. If we were going based on the models of how far you can travel in a day, right? This is weeks of travel.
I don't like weeks of travel.
Yeah, it's not ideal, right? You're welcome to do whatever you want. You're also welcome to stay in Fireshare for some time if you'd like. If you remember, Fireshare it's a town built out of the crater of a meteor strike. So it's a mining town. It's led by essentially 3 different companies that are sort of represent also different nearby towns. Let me see if I can get. I know one of them's from Waterdeep. Yeah. So there's the Hamover House, which is based in Mirabar, which is another dwarven sort of mining town. There's a lot of those. They're good at that. The Silver Triangle, which is based in Neverwinter, and then there's the Delvers of Brokenstone, which are based in Waterdeep. So kind of a lot of the more powerful, largest cities in the area kind of have a hand in the running of Fireshare.
Interesting. Come here. Well, do we want to be investigating these areas longer, or do we just want to start making our way down to Waterdeep? Because if we can go as far as Neverwinter, what's his name? Dagult?
Yeah, Dagult.
Do we want to look into him, or is he just someone we've heard about now?
I'm not sure I especially care about what he's doing.
Yeah, I was like trying to think of a way that it might be impactful to us. Maybe thinking about
You
possibly.
never asked about any reward, right?
Never asked about what?
A reward? If, like, we, say, dethroned him somehow?
That would have been a good thing to think of, but no.
I don't think there's a specific one, but
No, but you could also, if you wanted to try and get involved with that, you could definitely try to seek out the
Well,
Harpers.
I have a way of communicating with what's his face now, right?
Yeah, with let's get his name just to be
But
sure.
something.
So Daisy's all for a nice reward. I feel like we weren't supposed to know this from the last guy, but like
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to
I
tell
think
us
if we
any of the
were
things he
to get
told
in
us.
contact with him about like some kind of
Iron Bottom, is that his name?
I don't think it'd be a big.
I'm getting it just to make sure. His name is Thwip Ironbottom. You got it.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I'll put it in here. Good work.
Wait, is Thwip different from Thwerp?
No, Thwip. No, I just had the name wrong. Thwip and Thwerp are the same.
Okay.
If you want to call him Thwerp, I won't judge.
I just wanted to double check my notes.
Yep. So yeah, Thwip Ironbottom sort of maybe was definitely said a bit more than he should, but you could absolutely get more involved with the Harpers if you wanted to, and you know that they are trying to find a way to oppose the Golden Everember. They just don't have any recourse to right now.
yeah, and I imagine if we were to somehow find one of the potential heirs, that they would be willing to do a lot for us if we were to be able to get them in power.
Yeah.
Manga.
I think at a certain point, probably because this training does actually take a couple days. It takes you like 3 days to get fully comfortable on these griffins. I'm not going to make you make a million animal handling checks to do that. You guys will be fine for sure after those 3 days. But one evening after the training, I think Deshara will straight up even ask you, like, all right, so you know my you're well respected by my family. What exactly
I
is
gotta
your
get you a
goal
plate because
in
everything is very wet.
Okay.
in learning to ride these griffins? You seem like you have an air of purpose about you. Let's say.
I mean, it seems super cool to be able to ride a griffin. You know,
Oh, it
it's
is.
like
It's great, isn't it? I don't know why more people don't do it. I mean, I guess it's expensive, but
it's like
I
people
don't think
saying,
my
"Oh yeah, I
Fun.
always meant to learn how to play guitar." Like I always meant
High chance
how to
of
learn how to
learning
ride a
to
griffin.
mess it up.
We do intend to do a lot of traveling. This will definitely help. Might go as far south as Waterdeep.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like driving stick.
we've been adventuring together for a while now, but I don't think I've ever asked any of you what your actual goals are. Like, what's the point of it all?
It all.
Yeah, why are we doing
What,
this?
life?
Why don't we just make a living?
I'm quite interested in where my creator is. I've kind of been waiting
I
for a
kinda like
while,
the
and he just gone.
I think at this point, yeah, Deshara interrupts again. She's like, "Yeah, let's talk about that. Your creator. What's going on there? What is all this? What is this?
I-
Are you looking at me right now? Are we making eye contact?
You just kind of have to follow my face. And then when he says face, he kind of like looks up at the air, and then just like puts his hand like this. And I just go, honestly, I was just left with the son of Artist Simber. My instructions weren't really fleshed out very much. But now that I know that the giants are looking for him, it seems kind of like I have to find him first.
The giants are looking for him.
Yes.
Uh,
He has a pretty special ring.
That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, same. Honestly, anyone who has a ring that gives you immortality is someone I want to meet.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of jewelry.
I like the potential value in that.
So, I think primary goal is to find this dude.
well, and you think he's in Waterdeep?
That's the last place we have him tracked. We figure if he's not there, at least there, we might be able to find
A trail.
Try it.
Who the hell knows? He could be teleporting here, there, and everywhere.
Oh, almost certainly. I'm trying to. Believe it or not, I've spent quite some time in Waterdeep. I was actually the leader of the cavalry of their army quite some time ago. Before this whole Lord's Alliance business started up, and we were all ousted. I'm trying to think of somebody there that might be able to help you.
Why were you ousted from Waterdeep?
Well, as I'm sure you all know, it's pretty common. There was quite the political rift when Lord Neverember was ousted, and part of that was the instatement of this Lord's Alliance, this faction that was sort of took over a lot of the military, and the Lord's Alliance does not look kindly on my methods of raising griffins.
What's wrong with you?
your methods.
Are we doing something bad right now by getting
No, not at all. Just in general, they don't. They prefer other mounts.
No, they just don't like that you ride griffins at all.
Yeah.
They say that a walking
There's-
population is the
there's-
easiest to control.
Now, you said you worked under Neverember. What's his deal?
I hear he's got all kinds of business going on in Neverwinter. He's been building it up, and a lot of trade guy. I don't know. It's all kind of out of my wheelhouse.
Did you ever meet him when you were head of the cavalry?
No, yeah. Well, I don't know of this for fact, but it's been rumored that he is not the biggest fan of demi-humans. which demi-human in this case means elf, dwarf,
Half human.
yeah, but
Fucking
not
half-orc.
actually like not half orcs and half elves, specifically not those, but all the other ones that are humans but not in D&D essentially. Those kinds of things. So he
Human, right?
what?
Am I a human?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
A
I mean, he
dwarf?
doesn't. He definitely doesn't. I mean, I was the head of his cavalry. I mean, clearly he didn't wear that on his sleeve, but he definitely, if he was gonna give me orders, it was through a proxy.
Is Dashara what race is Dashara?
Sure, is also a dwarf. She's part of the Brighthelm clan.
Food for thought.
So now we know that we
Obviously.
shouldn't be sending in, or at least have anyone near him.
I'm curious what he would think of you. You're
I'll check
definitely
you.
not demi-human, but
As a trend, I find that many aren't the biggest fan, and I don't think that all of those people are racist.
remember when we started this? And I was like, we're not gonna do the racism thing, and then it's like written into the adventure, and I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, other people are racist. We can hate them.
Yeah, it's
It's a delicate line to hang around.
it's
I
how
don't
it
know,
goes sometimes.
It's just
Just
like
don't need a
helping
party
her hang out
member
with a mannequin.
Yeah, we
hatred
just
for
won't.
the race
We
of
won't
one of the
swap
other
them.
party members.
Honestly,
Yeah.
though, I think if any group is equipped to handle these kinds of
That was funny. That was a good bit. That was really good.
I feel like we have it unlocked.
Well done. Because we are all very white, but it's
You got it. You got
White
it.
males, baby.
Okay. So I guess this is I guess this is a point of deciding. Are we gonna move on to Waterdeep now? Do we want to look at Neverwinter?
I'll be honest. I wouldn't necessarily, at least all in one go. I don't think my griffins could handle a ride all the way down to Waterdeep.
Well, that's understandable. I just mean more in like, are we gonna hang out in Neverwinter, or are we just using it as like a resting point? Is more what I mean.
I feel like we probably shouldn't hang out too long in a place where the leader hates demi-humans and murders people.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what
let's
happens.
maybe not even go there.
Like, I would want to potentially avoid it if we can.
I have no issues with just moving on.
I don't know,
Right.
like, how close can the Griffins get us, and we can do the rest on our own?
Neverwinter is.
Neverwinter is the closest.
Yeah, that's what she
Yeah,
said.
it's the furthest south that she would.
Could we go about a half a mile south of Neverwinter?
Yeah, like we should go a little
Yeah,
past it,
sure. Yeah.
so we don't have to stop there. That would
I
be
love it.
I mean, if you want, I mean,
I mean,
I promise
maybe-
he's not like. He's just, he's just not racist.
let's go to Neverwinter. We'll probably meet some colorful
have some-
characters.
I have some deep-rooted anger towards racist people.
I feel like
Are you
probably
racist?
it's good to keep in mind that a
Yeah, I'm
bold,
racist.
someone who is bold in politics isn't necessarily like a bold, normal person. Like, I kind of doubt that he's just going to be slaughtering everybody if he's trying to make a pull for king. That's something that would get overthrown pretty quickly.
Right.
Let's
So-
stop in Neverwinter. Let's do it.
It's up to you guys. I don't actually care if you guys. I just wanted to clarify. Like, it isn't like you're gonna step foot in Neverwinter and immediately be arrested, kind of thing. Like, I don't want you. But if you guys don't want to go to Neverwinter, you're fine.
I mean, I can't guarantee what may or may not happen if people are being assholes.
If we have to stop near there anyway, it might be worth just looking around, maybe getting a lay of the land. Because we don't really know how much this guy is going to be in our shit. And if he has stake in Waterdeep, maybe knowing him might be, or knowing things about him in his area might be helpful to just have in the knowledge bank.
All right, I'm okay with that, I guess.
Like, we can just stop there, rest, Maybe spend a day asking around, and if there's nothing that catches our fancy, we just move on. It's on the way anyway.
All
I
right.
also want to unload this old chainmail and warhammer of mine.
Hell yeah. Get some
Oh,
sales
that's
going
true.
on.
Yeah.
Solid.
Okay, so I guess we'll just keep on moving on. Is there anything before we head down to Neverwinter? Then, is there anything that anybody wants to do in Fireshare? It's not an incredibly exciting town. It's mostly people that are working. You know, in the mines. They're not a lot of leisure time. It's a pretty hardworking. You know the type.
The only thing I would want to do, if possible, which I doubt, would be try to mine
No.
some precious ore for myself.
I mean, yeah, you could certainly try. Let me see what they specifically mine.
I'll be right back.
I don't think it would actually work out. Like, they would probably want me to give it to one of the three families.
I mean, probably right, but you know.
How is it?
And imports is fishing, but all able are. Oh yeah, no, they're specifically very. If you're not associated with one of the three companies, they're not a
sense.
big fan. Yeah, so unfortunately, probably not gonna let that happen.
Sounds good.
We lost Danny. That's okay. In that case,
Oh, I don't know if they would have this, but if there's any like magic ink, I would like to buy some of that.
Magic Ink.
Or maybe
Is it like the
Neverwinter
lemon
Reservoir
juice
could
thing
have
that you make and you put the UV light on
Yeah.
it?
They probably wouldn't as just a mining town, but Neverwinter definitely will.
All right, well that would be worth it for me to find.
Yeah. So we can. Well, yeah, you can grab that when you're in Neverwinter pretty easily.
Do we have money right now?
I have 1 gold.
Didn't we get money for like saving the city or something?
We got a ton of money from that.
Oh, we
No, I'm just playing. I have no idea.
I don't think I
Do you not have
explicitly
your
said it. I went
cheese?
right over
I
to
just
the
got it.
gems, but we'll say they
Huh?
probably
I just got them.
reasonably
Oh,
gave
okay.
you. Let's say
3 million.
no. How many? They're still not incredibly wealthy is the problem, but probably they could spare as a whole town 1,000 gold. So what is that? 200 each.
Hell yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, but I already
More
had
than I thought
200.
they could do.
Yeah, I think they gave you all 200 last time as well. Just save Bryn Shender over and over again. And you get 200 gold every time.
I'm just slowly saving up to find a +2 rapier somewhere. I have 400 gold in the pocket. I'll save until I can't.
Okay, so is everybody ready to head down?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So the journey is relatively uneventful. It's weird the speed that you're going. It takes about a day of travel. No, yeah, we'll say a day of travel. Fuck it, I don't care.
What does it matter? We're making it up.
Yeah, this is all make believe.
It's fake.
And it's strange, right? That like you can obviously higher up, even if it's and over the sea, it's even a bit colder than usual. But you can actively feel like the climate change throughout the day as you travel. As it gets, it's still not warm in the Neverwinter area, but it's it's not Icewind Dale, right? And it slowly becomes quite comfortable. So Neverwinter as a town is also sort of on the up and up. It's like Fireshare. It was recently destroyed by disaster. In this case, it was destroyed by the eruption of a volcano about 50 years ago. From a mountain, a volcano in this mountain range up here. Oh, I don't have pings on. Up here. A mountain called. Ooh, let's get the name. Mount
Mischievous.
Mount Hotanau. I swear to God, it's Mount Hotanau.
It's hotter now than it was yesterday.
Maybe it's Hot now, but I'm calling it Hotanau because it's funnier. And so, but Neverwinter's nickname is the City of Skilled Hands, and that is. There's truth to that because it is worked. They have worked furiously to rebuild themselves. Some of its reconstruction is far from complete. Some of its outer walls still lie in ruin, and still some areas of the city are still abandoned. But even so, it's habitable now, right? Which is impressive for a city that was destroyed 50 years ago. So as you all know, to Golden Neverember, he's known as Lord Protector of Neverwinter. He rules in the absence of a true heir to the crown. And there's no outside guard or anything like that. You're just free to walk in. But the streets are largely empty, which is strange. Dashara is visibly confused, and she states that she's planning on visiting. She's going to visit a few old friends from back in the day, especially because her griffins have to rest for the evening. So she's going to go stay in a tavern, and you're all welcome to go with her. The tavern.
Wait, so does she always have to come with us when we're riding these griffins? We can't just take these griffins?
If you build up enough trust where you're actually going to bring them back, maybe. Griffins are really fucking expensive.
Okay, I may have misunderstood this. So I thought this was kind of like, oh, you're like learning how to ride a horse, and then you can just take this horse, and you're a horse rider now.
Has that ever happened in real life? Fun fact: all horse riding lessons come with a horse. You raise a horse from birth, you learn how to ride it, and then you get it. It's your horse.
The name of the inn it's called the Tall Hand Pub.
It's like one of those tourist attractions where you pan for gold. You keep all the gold you find.
That's what I was hoping for at Fire Shoot. All hands, huh? Skilled hands?
Yeah, there's a theme, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that's where she's heading, and the journey did take legitimately most of the day, so it's pretty late. It's past dinner time at this point.
Well, then the tavern's probably a good place to get some information, and we can rest.
You're saying we were flying most of the day?
Yeah.
So, like, do we roll anything to figure out how many flies we got in our mouth?
How many what?
Flies we got in our mouth.
Boo!
You can, if you want, roll a D100. Oh my goodness.
75
145. Nobody else got any, by the way. It was only you, Nemo, and you got all 140 of them.
I don't know why you chose the griffin without a windshield.
How much damage does that do?
15 psychic damage.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
Honestly, if only I got 140 flies in my mouth, I would think God is out to get me.
The entire time, Nemo's like, oh my god, you guys, this is terrible. Everybody else is enjoying their nice leisurely ride, like the wind blowing through their hair. He's just like shielding his face.
Yip, motherfucker.
Apparently, hold on. I might have access to a map of Neverwinter that I could give you guys. It'd be pretty cool, I think. But the Tall Hand Pub is a pretty just normal establishment. There's nothing really super exciting about it. You do notice that most of the people inside are humans, but none of them are like. It doesn't seem like a tavern where there are a number of like adventurers or anything, right? It's not that kind of thing. It's legitimately where people go for a good time in the evening. It's run by a human woman, pretty old, looks to be in maybe her mid-60s. People are just pinging away. Where's this map? I want to see the map. I demand the map.
Are all of your resources in the compendium?
All of mine? No, mine are all in the adventure. Like mine are essentially all a bunch of handouts.
Gotcha. I've never DM'd, so I have no idea what it looks
Yeah,
like on your end.
Someday soon. Probably under the Lord's Alliance. There's a Baldur's Gate map. That's not helpful to me at all. Oh, that's cool. Okay, let's see. How can I get this to you guys?
There are some neighbors that are congregating across the street, and they're making me uncomfortable.
Maybe move.
Why are you scared of gas?
Scared of gas. I'm missing something.
Vapors.
Oh, vapors?
With an O.
I got you.
Out. Okay, I can do it this way. I see. Choose file. It's loading. Everything's great. What? There are actually though there's a group of human. If I just do it this way, yeah, sure. It's just a edit. So that don't use Neverwinter map. Save. Show to players. I don't think any of this is actually going to be useful to any of you, but that's what it looks like. So yeah, there are a group of mix of men and women, and they all seem a couple of drinks deep and they're talking, and one of them is loudly talking over them, and he is insisting that this volcano is gonna blow. He's like, yeah, I've got this friend. He goes out into the woods sometimes, and he swears you could see it smoking. We're all dead men walking here, honestly, in my opinion. Just might as well enjoy your last couple days. And at that point, he's taking another huge swig of his drink. And clearly, the rest of his friends are all just like, yeah, all right, whatever. Like, fuck you, dude. That's obviously not going to happen. And they go on. They're just going on. Yeah. What do you all want to do?
Definitely make note of that. I don't want to stay long in case he's right.
Yeah. I mean, we can't do anything about a volcano.
We should ask.
Yeah.
Is his only we should maybe figure out if his only basis is that his friend saw smoke.
Do you do that? Do you ask him?
Sure. I'm gonna talk to the guy.
Weird faceless creature comes up to the bar.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, immediately like stands up, gets out of his seat, and like takes a few steps away from you. He's like,
see, it's weird because I'm really oddly charismatic.
Well, charisma can be. It isn't necessarily like likable. It's just force of personality. So like being strange can definitely kind of work with that.
Yeah.
People take notice of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did this thing just talk to me?
Mm-hmm.
No, there's people. Plus, there it's not just my friend, all right? People have been talking about this for a while now, all over town. All right, you just got to know the right sources, man.
I like kind of lean, so I'm like looking past him at his friends, and I go, "How crazy is this guy?" And then I immediately qualify.
Yeah.
Not that he is crazy. Just on a scale from 1 being not crazy, 10 being very crazy, where would you put him?
An equal number to the amount of drinks he's had at on any particular evening.
How many drinks has he had tonight?
Too many to count.
All right.
Daisy buys him a drink.
Finally, we got somebody that's listening to the goddamn expert in here. It's not my fault. None of any of you are paying any attention.
I'm trying to, buddy. I'm trying to. What do your sources tell you?
That the fucking volcano's gonna blow.
Oh my god. All right. Are we just gonna loop this
Do
conversation?
you not have ears on that thing?
No, I don't. That doesn't affect my hearing. I feel like you should be able to see that I don't have ears. Kind of
Wait,
insensitive.
how can you hear me if you don't have ears?
How can I talk if I don't have a mouth?
It's a great question.
I'm glad I thought of that response so quickly. Wow. Okay.
Look, I'm tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm packing up my stuff. I'm out of here. It's
It
not my
feels.
fault if none of you are
Dude,
willing to save yourself. They're like, yeah, you say that every fucking weekend when we come out, dude. You're not gonna do it. You gotta wipe your kids, bro.
How many consecutive weekends have you been saying the volcano's gonna erupt?
You're not gonna run away, you fucking
A
coward.
while.
All right. Well,
All right. Well, I'm
I
gonna.
got a nasty feeling that this is the weekend, though.
That's often just how things go.
Think about it. Every weekend that it doesn't happen means it's more likely to be true this next weekend.
It's like 50 times true.
that's actually not necessarily the case. What if the
No, that's
volcano's
for
just
real.
dormant,
Yeah, okay.
extinct?
What does that extinct? What does that mean?
Like eventually the volcano just stops being a volcano and then it's just a rock.
What, you think volcanoes are dinosaurs? Oh my god, this dog is fucking barking across the street.
I'm concerned about this.
I've never seen a
situation.
volcano, but I've read about them.
Where? What, are you just hanging out all day in the goddamn library?
Well, not anymore, but when I was a wee lad. Sure.
Libraries can't be trusted, man.
Why not?
Who picks what books go in what library?
No? That's an interesting question.
I think it's just librarians.
Tunnel.
All right, buddy. I appreciate your advice.
I heard that this mug of ale is actually an active volcano. And then I cast thaumaturgy and I make like smoke start emitting.
He throws it on the ground like it shatters everywhere. And the old woman's like, again? How does this happen? Why do I keep letting you into my pub? What is wrong with? Not what's wrong with you. What's wrong with me? All of you, out of here, out of here. Referring to him and his friends. Not you. All can stay. You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm so perplexed.
Don't fucking drop any glasses though. Jesus Christ, they're expensive. You know how expensive glass is these days?
More than the
5
beverage.
silver?
Very funny.
How much does the glass cost?
Well, it depends where you're getting it from, but I like to use the finest worked glass in all of the Sword Coast. So there are some shipping costs involved. It's kind of, my thing. Don't you get it? The name, the tall hand.
I was just asking because I just wanted to help out, and I just put a gold piece on the counter, and I go, "There you go." Would you maybe by chance be willing to give us a lay of the land as you see it?
That's a loaded question.
It's kind of what I'm looking for.
I promise we're not gonna like arrest you for saying something you shouldn't be saying.
I'm just looking
Can
for
you
the.
do
We can't.
Just suddenly bring the possibility of arrest into the situation.
That's why he can really promise that we will not do it.
I assure you.
I'm gonna start opening conversations with the fact that I'm not gonna arrest people.
Well, if you tell them that you're not a police officer, that means you're not a police officer. That's how it
That's
works.
how it works. Yeah. Yeah.
Just anytime someone asks me for something at work, I'm just like, buddy, I'm not gonna arrest you.
I don't know. You have no reason to fear for speaking honestly. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, I feel you.
I mean, honestly, things have been pretty good. I mean, the past, things were. I moved here actually up from Baldur's Gate, maybe 10, 15 years ago, and things were rough around here for a while for sure. It was a rough neighborhood, a rough city, but I mean, I got to give the man credit. I mean, things have been good. Things have been safe.
Never
I haven't had. I mean, my
uh,
biggest problem is that asshole that I just kicked out. Right? That's not. It could be much worse. I mean, back in Baldur's Gate, when you'd go for a morning stroll, the fog would clear, and there'd be a dead body at your feet. Like, what the fuck, right?
That is pretty wild.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Has there been something that he's done?
I mean, as far as I know, he's just invested a lot of money in the industries and trade here.
But like, where is everybody?
Of industries and trade. Do you happen to know of a magic shop in the city?
Oh, absolutely. Let's is there anything on that map? Let's find out.
Clock tower.
The answer. Well, there's the House of Knowledge.
Could be.
That's why. Are you a arcane practitioner?
Yeah, let's go with that.
People I don't know, it's just a weird culture thing here. People just don't go out at night. I mean, they go out, but like, they before the sun goes down, everybody takes vacation. Then there's a point where people all go home. I close shop pretty early here myself, around 11 o'clock.
So it's always been the case that no one's really gone outside?
At least since I've lived here, yeah. I don't know. I just, when in Rome.
Never winter, more like never goes out at night.
Nice.
Have you lived here since before the change in leadership?
Well, so yes and no, right? So Neverember is always, at least as long as she's been here, has always been the actual like person in charge. But he also was splitting his time with Waterdeep until pretty recently. I think only a couple years ago. So, and then that's when he kind of turned his full attention to Neverwinter. So
Okay,
that's when the shift was. But technically, Neverember was in charge in both periods, if that makes sense.
gotcha.
Yeah, she's been here about 15 years.
So,
Just
why does it bring up the fact that no one goes out? Like, does something happen if you go out?
I don't know. I never go out, but I've never heard of anything happening to anybody.
Well, then why are you
Why'd you mention it?
being a coward?
Well, I asked where.
Danny asked because
Oh.
people weren't. Because when you arrived, there was nobody out on the streets, really.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, I take back my coward thing.
Are like punishments for crimes especially harsh?
It depends on. I think I get some wealthier patrons that come in here, and from what I hear, Neverember is particularly harsh on some of the richer families in the city. He taxes them really heavily, and if they ever get caught doing anything, he definitely makes an example of them. But I mean, for you or I mean, people with a couple gold in their pocket,
Yeah.
Is
Guys
that
do
like
that.
supposed to make me like him? Because that kind of makes me like him.
It's not supposed to make, and nothing's supposed to make you like or dislike him. I'm just telling you the facts about him. Things have been good for me.
I mean, he's taxing the rich. That's great.
I mean, yeah, like I said, things are going well here for me, right? I make more than enough, and it's honestly not that difficult to work. Like I said, my biggest problem are assholes that get too drunk on the weekend.
Is that? Am I? I mean, not to sideline the conversation. It's a different subject, but am I able to kind of like before like the asshole, the really drunk guy was kicked out, before he leaves, would I be able to like get by him, do something generally, try and do something generally before he leaves the bar?
Say the last part of that again, Josh.
Like the really drunk guy who's leaving, like
Yeah.
before he leaves the bar, is there any way I'd be able to kind of like get near him, try to pull a little scam, get some
Oh,
money?
absolutely, absolutely.
I don't want to derail this conversation. I can do that later, but
Yeah. We'll finish this conversation, then we'll sort of jump back and get that, but we can absolutely do that. Although I don't know what other questions you all have for this lady.
Yeah, it just seems like things are. It seems like we might not be able to get much.
I mean, you all look, you're all armored up and stuff. You look pretty tough. I did hear that Lord Neverember is looking for a group of adventurers to. I mean, the task is very secretive. I don't know what it is,
Oh,
but I mean,
thank you
if
very
possible,
much.
you could. Apparently, he just like if he's gonna hire you, he
Thank
meets
you.
with you himself.
Good to see you.
Hmm.
Will do.
And he's
Maybe that'd
looking
be
to
an interesting
hire
thing to explore.
adventurers.
Yeah, I mean, I know he. It's not a secret that he's not the most fond of the Lord's Alliance, right? And so, kind of, I think sometimes is often looking for people sort of outside of that system to take care of problems that are difficult to handle through the regular military or whatever. I'm sure it's nothing major, but I mean, if you're that worried about him, I mean,
I'm just interested.
have you you I get the impression that you're very curious about Lord Neverember.
We've just heard some interesting stuff about the man pertaining to how he handles others trying to maybe make a claim to the throne.
Well, I mean, he is the bastard son of that clan, right? That family. I mean, he has with nobody else having a more direct bloodline. I mean, he seems like a good fit.
Well, if he's such a good, like, I guess it's just the fact that you'd think if someone felt confidently that they deserved something, they wouldn't kill anyone who claimed that they did.
I'm sorry, are you accusing him of murder?
No.
Oh, this is just like a nice, weird hypothetical.
Yeah, no, I'm just batting around some ideas I've heard tossed around the ether.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea how to respond now. As far as I know, he hasn't murdered anybody. But I mean, like I said, I live in Baldur's Gate, so nothing would surprise me. I guess.
You seem a little nervous.
I mean, you just accused the person that I somewhat deem responsible for my success and livelihood of murder. I mean, in a hypothetical sense, yes, but like,
I just mean, like,
Question.
why?
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but why so nervous? Like, there's nothing wrong with just a little talk. What's I gonna do?
I mean, I don't think anybody's
I
gonna
think
do
you're
anything.
having this nice innkeep too hard a time right now, guys.
Wait, what was that?
I don't know. You're asking a lot of questions.
Oh, I like asking questions.
Seems like she's getting flustered.
That's what I'm looking for.
She basically kind of like thinks about it for a second, and then she goes, question, I'm not saying he did murder anybody, and to be clear, this is the first I'm hearing of anything of that sort. But even if he did, I mean, he's doing a good job, right?
From all that you tell me.
At some point, she's going to say she would vote for him for a third term. I don't know.
I guess can I insight check to see if there's
Yeah,
any
yeah,
like does she seem like scared, or is this
Okay,
just like
gotcha. Yeah, go ahead, make an insight check. The anticipation.
I rolled?
It didn't show up for me.
It's an 18.
Oh, there it is. There it is. 18. More confused than scared. I mean, definitely, she's not used to people coming in her pub and like accusing people in high places of murder. She kind of considers that to be a thing of her past, maybe. So that has caught her off guard, and you are also all very powerful people that could kill her very easily. So she's not like completely relaxed in that sense, right? But she isn't like scared as if she's hiding anything. She's
Okay, I was
confused.
more wondering if I don't know why, but I latched onto the vibe that people were being watched. So I was just trying to
It doesn't seem it
get
doesn't
to the
it
bottom
doesn't
of that.
necessarily seem like that now.
Okay. Well, then I say, well, I appreciate the conversation. Hope they win a third term.
Well, I will you all be needing rooms here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Seems like a nice place to board up for the night.
Well, we'll say how many rooms do you need? What there's 6 of you?
Yeah.
1, 2.
Deshara
Yeah.
is the 6th.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, Dashara, are you staying tonight?
Oh, that's her. Yeah, her plan is to stay here for the night and then leave in the morning to head back to Fireshare.
Okay.
So what do we'll call it? We'll call it. Do you all want individual rooms? Do you want? I mean, we certainly have the space. There's not most of my patrons come for the night, have a good time, and head on home. So I've got plenty of beds. If let's say what a gold for a bed. Seem fair?
Hell yeah.
Ask me.
Yeah, sure. I don't need to sleep.
That's true. You don't need to sleep.
You could stay in my room. You could just stand in mine if you want.
All right, I'll just
I like
stand
to-
in the corner.
I like to imagine that the reason why mannequin number 5 asks so many questions is because all night while everybody else is asleep, he's staring at the ceiling or whatever, like coming up with all these questions that he wants to ask people.
That's pretty much it. He just is like not a human, and he's just like I don't know.
Let's go over to Josh really quick. Go back in time. So you said you wanted to run a scam.
Yeah, Nemo and Daisy, we've been itching to work our game a little bit. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Ooh,
all
I'm
right.
so
What
itchy.
does your game look like? I'm excited to see this.
So I've been looking at my cantrips, right? I'm
Yeah.
thinking. So Cameron and I have been talking about it, right? I try and sell Cameron. I've got a pebble in my pocket. Gonna use minor illusion and light to make it have this like aura of like this kind of, in like a video game or like a movie, there's like a magic thing. It kind of makes like a sound that's like.
Yeah. It makes a like shing, like.
I
Yeah.
wanna create that before I begin, so that it sounds muffled as if it's in my pocket, and then I'll pull out like a pebble. Tell the Nemo, and I'm like, I can't do it that low. This is super. This is an oracle stone. It sent some disaster here, and then that's gonna get this guy's attention, and Nemo's gonna try and haggle, but this is a big thing. I can't sell this for nothing. Nemo, oh no, forgets his wallet, has to go upstairs and get his gold. Meanwhile, I happen to be right next to this guy who, I mean, fears disaster. I mean,
Yeah, no, yeah. He immediately when you say that about disaster, he immediately is like, what is it? What does it do?
oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. Yeah, you must have. Alright. Can I use? Yeah, you can color light, right? If you use light,
Yeah, why not?
color it like the dim, like
One of your
blue,
French girls.
like
Sorry.
like a French girl. No, it's sick reference, bro. I'd be like, well, you better thank your lucky stars. This isn't going too hard, glowing too red or anything. It's in sense danger, impending
Like,
doom.
what kind? What like what? Like it would glow red if like the volcano was gonna go off.
Volcano, invading barbarians, tsunami. Just your general thing.
What
I'm
the
almost
fuck is a
set to,
tsunami? I need to know what a tsunami is right now. Tell me what a tsunami is.
I mean, let's see. Wait, is that not a thing here?
Oh no, it is a thing. He just doesn't know what it is.
Oh, big ass waves, big waves.
Guys, is there a tsunami coming?
Hell yeah, brother! About to shred some nar powder on the waves.
And his friends are definitely like trying to pull him away. Like they're a bit more aware, but he very like forcefully shoves them up and he's like, I'm talking here. This is important. And they're just like, all right, fuck you. And they just start wandering off down the street.
I'll have you know, this is the most trusted brand of Warning Pebble. It's Cutco.
I want the attitude of mannequin number 5 to always be the way that Danny just said. Hell yeah, brother. Back to shred some gnar on the waves. I want that to be mannequin number 5's default personality.
Um, how much of you how much at this point Nemo's gone upstairs like to get his wallet or whatever, right?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you're selling it to that person, I'll pay double. Well, I don't. What are you? Wait. What are they paying?
Deal.
How much?
I don't-
How much?
Listen, buddy. Look, I'm almost sad to see it go, but I already got a buyer for 25 gold on this one.
25 gold.
Wait, what? All right. To be fair, I as just a player don't really know what like an average amount of.
Okay, I was about to
Nobody
say, 25
Nobody
gold is an
25
immense
gold is a
amount
lot
of money.
Like
for
what would I
random-
imagine? Like, how much would so room is like 1 gold.
Yeah.
Would 5 be like?
I think 1 gold is like a week's salary.
Yeah, for a lot of people.
All right. Let me turn it.
I don't know. I wouldn't think about it too hard. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't matter. None of it works.
I need you to ponder
it's
this.
just- listen, I've got 30 gold under my mattress at home. Just don't sell it to them. I'll be right back. I promise.
Listen, buddy, you're really pulling my leg here. I mean, I got a buyer right away who's going for 35, but I mean, you seem to know what you're talking about with this volcano thing. Maybe it would serve you better use. If you get back to me, you got it for 30.
And he just takes off running down the street like drunkenly. He falls over, like tumbles to the ground, picks himself back up, keeps going, and about 5 minutes later, comes back with the gold like in his hands in a little pouch. Here, I've got it. Please, I need the fucking pebble.
All right, but listen, this is power beyond most comprehension. You can't let this fall into the wrong hands, and Lord knows you can't let many people know about this. I need your word as a man of honor.
Yeah, I won't tell a soul. Plus, I wouldn't want anybody to like steal it from me, right? I just paid my my entire year's salary for it. I wouldn't want somebody to steal it. from under my nose, right? Your secret's safe with me.
All right, pal, you got a deal. No, I'll give it to him, and I'll buy him a drink too.
Okay, absolutely.
And then when I see Nemo, I want to do like a cool nah, like Master Chief at the end of Halo 3, with Arbiter, and they kind of nod to each other. I wanna do
Yeah.
that, but then I want to do a cool handshake, like.
A guy tries to buy something, another guy outbids him, and then you and the guy who tried to buy it just fucking like
but
fucking Naruto hand signs and then just dip out with all his gold.
Well done. Well done. Does anybody else have anything that they wanna do for the night?
Can I am not expecting to have the gold. Can I price a stronger rapier?
Stronger than +1?
Yes. Can I look around? If no one has it, I totally understand.
Yeah, let's see what they've got.
I am 100% willing to accept the fact that I cannot pay for it or that it does not exist. I'm just trying to look around.
Magic item.
I feel like stores probably aren't open at this point.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's probably true, but I'll give you the information on what it is. Let me I need to open Xanathar's, and it's easier for me to just open the book than go through the compendium because I know exactly what page I want. It's a common occurrence. We want. Okay, so a +2. Is how rare is it? Doesn't tell me. Weapon rarity. 5e. God damn it, Google. Are okay. So they are rare. So they are likely to cost. I want. Time. So yeah. Danny, roll 2d10 for me.
Alrighty. I don't.
Oh, you always add the extra. You make it like.
I just clicked the 2d10 in the little thing. Oh wait, what is that?
But you have the thing.
Oh, got you.
I forget what the term is for that.
It's a little explanation. I guess it just means proficiency bonus? No, that doesn't make any sense.
It
That
makes
doesn't
it
make
so that if you roll like the maximum number on it, it will roll another dice. So like in certain games, I'm trying to think of one. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but it's like called exploding dice. So like if you roll damage on something and roll max damage, not only do you get that, but you get to roll again
Oh wow.
to add to it. So that's what that's for. So like you say you rolled a 10, so then it rolled a third die there for you.
Gotcha.
But 10 plus 9, so wow, that's rough. Yeah, in Neverwinter, a +2 rapier would cost you about 19,000 gold.
Alright, I accept that. Just pricing.
19,000?
Yep, it's
Jesus.
I just go, well, thanks.
2d10 times 1,000.
It makes me feel better that 2,000 was the lowest it could have been.
Yeah. It's, no,
I just say, I appreciate you. I'll talk to you.
I mean, you could try to haggle it down. I'm open to a deal.
I'll give you 150 gold. See, I'm starting lower than how much I have.
Yeah, no. I'll see you in a couple years, kid.
I'll give you 400 gold.
Please, if you have the money, if you make a little bit more money, please come back. I'd be happy to do business with you. But
I'm sure you
as it
would.
stands-
And I turn around and I leave.
plus, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to give something such a sharp and dangerous tool to somebody that's so inexperienced.
I just tilt my faceless head and look at him, and then I turn around and leave.
I mean, any adventurer worth their salt would have easily, 20,000 gold on hand at any time. I think.
You know what? You're right. I'm fucking inadequate, and I leave.
Sam, you wanted to buy magic ink, right?
Well, ideally, I would like to buy 50 gold worth of magic ink, and also possibly see if they have a spell scroll for a spell I'm trying to learn. Leoman's Tiny Hut.
Demon's Tiny Hut is. Just search Tiny Hut. I bet it'll come up then. Yeah, there it is. So Leoman's Tiny Hut is a 3rd level spell. So let me do I have a chart for variety of spell scrolls? I bet somewhere I do, but spell scroll rarity. So
you want
okay,
more?
so 3rd level spell
It's
scroll
all
is still
gone. Thank you.
is still an uncommon magic item. So roll just 1d6 for me.
Okay. Let's see.
It's gonna cost you about 400 gold, unfortunately.
Okay, I
You
have
can
an
try to
al-
haggle it down.
I have a proposition to.
Okay.
I'm assuming I'm in a store that can do it.
Yeah. So it's the whatever I said it was before. Let me find it. The House of Knowledge is the name of the shop, and it is a pretty upscale. I mean, as you'd expect, magic shop. So they're used to a 3rd level spell scroll is not a big deal for them to be selling, right? It's not like some super rare thing that they only get in once in a while. So what's your proposition?
So I don't actually need to take the spell scroll with me. I just want to be able to transcribe it into my spell book. So what I propose is that I pay half the cost of creating the spell scroll. You let me transcribe it into my spell book. I'm assuming the ink would be included in this, and then you get to keep the spell scroll at the end, and you can resell it or whatever. So for 200 gold,
That's
I-
probably a pretty common thing. That makes sense as a thing for a magic shop business to do, right? I think that would be. So yeah, I think you got yourself a deal. So you're saying how much total would it cost you?
well, I mean, you do get to keep the scroll at the end, so I don't know what would be reasonable.
How about the whole thing, including the ink, for 150?
150? All right, deal.
Yeah.
I had another idea if that didn't work out, but this is better.
Okay. Anybody else? I guess at this point, really, it is after a long rest in the morning because yeah, the shops wouldn't be open, but it's okay. If somebody wants to do something at night, that's fine.
Yeah, and
You
then
don't have to be linear.
and then I'll transcribe that spell into my tome,
Absolutely.
which is gonna be useful. You guys are gonna like this one if we ever have to go through the fucking snow again.
Yay.
It's good. It's a good pick.
Can we do a long rest? Did I get all my spell slots then?
Oh yeah, for sure. You've got everything because it's been multiple days of hanging out in Fireshare and then traveling in this. So you're at full everything. Who's calling me at a time like this? I'm busy. Bye. So yeah. So you're welcome to, if you want, you could continue your journey down towards Waterdeep. You could try and find out more about the volcano. You could try to find more about Neverember. The world is your oyster.
It would be mad awkward if we just left and the volcano just fucking exploded. When we came back, it was just gone.
Nah, dude, the stone was blue.
We are safe.
If it happens, there's nothing we can do. I just
Well,
came up with a fun idea for a scam, but I didn't end up using it. Maybe later. If you guys have something that's like semi-pricey that you don't want to spend money on, let me know and we could try and make something happen.
I'm all good for now. That my only desires, as expected, infinitely out of my price range.
Yeah, I'm good too. Got the spell I wanted, transcribed it and all.
All right. I mean, the issue is right. I mean, there isn't anything like pressing that you. I mean, obviously you all want to get down to Waterdeep, but there isn't anything like attacking you right now, right? So, are we just heading on our way down to Waterdeep?
I'm all good with that, unless
Yeah.
the crew needs anything.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So, let's take a look at this line here. Let's see how many days. Probably you would also like get some rations and stuff, but I'm not super worried about that. Let's take a look at our line here. Like this, it should let me. When I start doing this, why did I care about this level of specificity? All right, so we're talking about 350 miles, let's say. So let's look at our travel pace here. Oh, I'm not in the right thing. That explains why it didn't come up. Even though it is like a common road, and you definitely, as on your travels, run into like just people kind of heading back. The complicated thing is, right, even though Neverwinter is trying to surpass Waterdeep, and the people from Waterdeep know this, it's still one of their prime trading partners. So like there's like it's like that that kind of relationship where they're trying to get a leg up on each other, but also their greatest asset is their ability to trade with each other, as well as then Waterdeep down to Baldur's Gate. And Neverwinter also then has access to all the northern towns.
China.
Travel pace. Yes.
Trade war. Meme. I don't know.
So, if we the normal travel pace, unless you guys want to push it, would be 24 miles a day.
Ooh, 24?
So what did I
Slacking.
say?
Um,
So what, it was like 350?
350, I think you said.
Yeah, 300. So how many days will it take you to get there?
A lot of days.
Is there
It
some
looks like
kind of
about two. We'll call it about 2 weeks.
is there some kind of method where we can fast travel by
14
getting in
days.
a carriage and paying like a certain amount of gold?
You potentially could. Yeah, it would definitely speed up your travel a little bit. I mean, it's not gonna make it so that like you by Cameron. It's not like you're gonna make it so that you get there in an hour and a half, but you could probably cut that in maybe a third, maybe cut a third of the time off of that. Get there maybe in like 10 days or something.
I'd be willing to toss up money. I
Yeah,
don't
I
even need,
I don't want too much.
as though I would prefer help. I can monetarily pay that. I don't have that much though.
Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so there's
anywhere in reach.
definitely carriage services. Uh, the amount of time, right? Because it's basically a 10-day investment, right?
Mhm.
So it's going to be pretty expensive. It's probably going to run you call it 75 gold.
Okay.
It's a wonderful tiefling man who's very charismatic and kind of like it's at first it's kind of fun. He like makes like he tries to be like very tour guidey and be like, ah yes, and here we are crossing What's let's get some actual names of things that you might run into. Why not? Nations. Fuck. This module is so big, you guys. It's ridiculous. What's
It
up with that? So pretty quickly you cross a place called Helm's Hold, which is as it sounds, it's kind of like an old military hold essentially. It was also partially destroyed during the volcano eruption. But now it is actually a fortified monastery, enclosed on all sides by stone walls, by a group called the Order of the Gilded Eye. And as you would suspect, it where they worship. They're part of the Order of the Gauntlet. They're sort of like a subsection of that, who worship the god Helm. So just like as you're going, just kind of constantly referencing this kind of things, and at first it's kind of fun, but also at a certain point you are super sick of this dude. It's like, and if we went down this road, we would end up at Tribe, or a wonderful farming village. Actually, my grandparents are from there. They make they harvest wonderful apples, and just like on and on and on. It's just, I mean, 10 days of just information overload that you're never going to use. But you eventually make your way down to the glorious city of Waterdeep. And at this point, Cameron's going to just take over, although he's gone. So he's not, because he's the Waterdeep expert.
Kid knows everything about Waterdeep.
You get ask Cameron any question about Waterdeep. He'll know the
I bet he could run a whole campaign on it.
He could run probably from levels like 1 to 5.
Was that
Although
how?
it's a
Did we play to level 5?
No, well, we only got to we only got to level 3, and when I say we got to level 3, the last session at the end he went, "Oh, okay, I guess you can be level 3 now."
Okay, I was about to say I feel like I don't remember having anything.
The end of that campaign was just there was an explosion in our tavern that we were opening up, and he was like, "Oh shit, there's an explosion. We'll find out what happens next week." And then that was it. Anyway, though, let's talk about Waterdeep. So it's literally it's known as the City of Splendors. It's a bustling walled city, and it is the merchants consider it the best supply center in the world, with a collection of superb craft workers, experts, useful contacts, those kinds of things. However, it has a very complicated sort of social infrastructure to it that if you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble.
Might not even be able to finish a game you're playing.
Yeah, exactly. It would, yeah. There are members of all kinds of different factions here: the Harpers, the Order of the Gauntlet, the Lord's Alliance, obviously, and then also the evil, or not necessarily evil, but like less good, Zentarim. And yeah, I guess really cities are tough, right? Like cities are tough because it's too big for me to just like list things that are there, but also theoretically a lot of your characters would have a sort of working knowledge of Waterdeep. Maybe you haven't been there, but like you know of some of the people there and stuff like that. So as you arrive in Waterdeep after this long 10-day journey, your new tiefling friend waves goodbye as he immediately, without even resting, turns his carriage around and starts going back up north. The first thing you also notice is that clearly the giants have not been here yet, right? Because it's not, there's no sign of damage or a fight or anything. So either you're really, really, really late, or they haven't arrived yet. So, what when you first arrive in Waterdeep, what are your goals? What are you trying to do?
Well, I definitely am interested in looking around for Artist Simber and seeing when the last time people had seen him was.
Yeah, gotcha. So,
That is definitely on my
You guys-
priority list.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought you were just
Okay.
chilling. I thought you were enjoying the atmosphere. Okay, so you're looking for artist Simber. What would be
Yeah.
your how do you go about doing that though?
I guess that is the issue. So Artist Simber, he is an he's an artificer, but what was he initially? I know we
He
changed that just to say
he
that.
was originally a wizard.
All right, so are
Um,
there like you imagine there's probably like something he probably a purpose in which he came here, especially because it's such a
Yeah.
connected place. Maybe like if there's any like kind of comprehensive library or place of information.
Yeah, so that would probably be Danny. It's going to bring back flashbacks. So there are different sort of districts, different wards. Um, and so that would most likely be almost certainly in the Castle Ward, which is definitely the richest and is district, and it's also the place where a lot of public buildings are and stuff. So like libraries and stuff. But then also, often nearby near those libraries are where magic shops, places where wizards congregate. They spend a lot of time in libraries, so they sort of often take up those areas. So there's a place, sort of not a magic shop is the wrong place. Think almost like how Barnes and Nobles, depending you can argue how successful, but Barnes and Nobles like tries to make it like less of a bookshop and more of like an experience kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's that vibe, right? Like it's where people go for drinks and stuff, but it's also like people will just pick up a book off the shelf and read that kind of thing. So that is one of the main hubs of the Castle Ward. That would be a pretty likely bet.
All right, and then if I'm correct, we don't really know what the purpose of Artist Simber is, right?
No, you have
Like,
no idea his motivations at all.
I'm back,
Hey,
baby.
Cameron, we're in
Hi.
Waterdeep now.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yo, Cam, where do you think we should go first?
Where do you think?
I
where do
figure just because you have so much knowledge
I have so much knowledge
of
about
the
Waterdeep.
area, you would have a good idea of where to start.
Extensive knowledge, you could say.
All right, it was a good bit. So, so I'm gonna go to that library. Whoever wants to come with me is more than welcome to accompany me.
Is there any more context other than just the fact that we're in Waterdeep?
We just got to Waterdeep. We were just trying to figure out like what our initial moves might be, and I figured maybe a good place to go would be an information hub to try to figure out if artist Simber had been here recently. Maybe try to find someone he'd come into contact with.
Gotcha. I guess I'd go with you on that.
Yeah, so it is. So I mean, I'm just gonna keep sort of kind of asking the same question as we narrow in on your plan more and more. But like, so you get there, it's this big open library. The kind of place with those rolling ladders so that you can get to like bookshelves that are way too high for you to get.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. There are a number of people here, and unlike Neverwinter, which was mostly humans, Waterdeep is incredibly diverse. You see Genasi, you see goblins, you see all sorts of people. You see orcs, even. You see, all basically anything you can imagine. And there are a number of sort of quiet conversations going on. It seems to be much like a library, like people keep their voices down generally.
Um, Okay, so we know that he had this ring, right?
Yep.
So was that like did I know that like wait, artist knew or not artist, Sirik knew
Sirik
that,
does.
right? So if Sirik
Yeah.
had that knowledge, that must have been so like he had this ring a long time ago.
Yeah. At this point, this is years and years ago, probably multiple decades ago. At this point, can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll 20 is being super weird. I think
Yeah,
this is probably why people are having problems.
yeah,
It says the
it's
same thing.
messaging me about it, yeah.
It probably means that we're still connected to each other, but not connected to the server. So if we change stuff, it might not save.
Alright, well we'll just chill for now and we'll see how it goes. It's fine. But I guess if there's anywhere maybe about like any library sections about like magical items or I don't know what those are called. That's fair. Oh, I can hear you.
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
I
I
don't
can't
see
see
anyone.
you, but I can hear you. I'm gonna try to reconnect. Alright, well, I guess I'm streaming, and y'all can hear me, but no one else. There's no y'all. There's none of you. You're not real. Let's all just be honest with one another. Let's play some Fortnite together. Just me and the chat, baby. Let's just play some fucking Fortnite. Like, honestly, Fortnite just seems like it's the true conclusion. So what we have going on here at in Waterdeep. Like let's get some fucking Fortnite. Like hello? Hello? Alright. Well, let's just see how it goes. Ba-da, ba-da, da-da, da-da. Alright. Let's try another reconnect. From these industry fucks. I can't say that word. That sounded way worse than it was. All right, folks, we're trying to figure out.
Hey.
Oh shit! Hey, I was just talking to the loyal viewers about playing some fucking Fortnite. I'm not joking. Go watch the VODs. I talk about Fortnite the whole time. I know nothing of the game.
Rest in peace, the opportunity that existed there.
Honestly, I think that however long of the VOD with only me might be the most valuable footage you've ever shot.
Maybe.
Ah,
Just maybe.
I also realized the screen was still blacked out from when I had to do something else for like 20 minutes, so that's fun.
Hey. All right. Everybody's here. Everybody can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say I if you can't hear me. Cool.
Ha!
All right.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. So we are in Waterdeep. We are in this large library. And you are investigating artist Simber. And Danny was saying something about how artist Simber owned this ring, the Ring of Winter, and I don't know where we were going after that. So let's just try this again. Danny, all right, how are you attempting to hunt down artist Simber using this library?
So I wanted to. My plan was to try to go to the section about maybe magical items and
Yeah.
see if I could kind of find someone who seems to be an expert or at least kind of know their way around the area. But I have to
Yeah.
pee really badly. I'll be right back.
Said this kid was talking about Fortnite. So, okay. Meanwhile, so did everybody go with Mannequin, or is anybody investigating anything else?
I feel like I would tag along.
That's fine too. Yeah,
said
yeah.
earlier I was
I just
tagging
figured.
along.
I just figured I'd ask while he's gone.
Yes.
Josh just started a group call in
I'm sorry.
Quarantine Dungeons and Dragons.
My bad, guys. I also have this typed in the chat. Apparently, my screen was still on, and I didn't realize.
Yeah, Waterdeep. Here we are. Cameron, give us one fun fact about Waterdeep.
Waterdeep. There are a variety of factions that operate the
I already
various
told them that while
industries
you
of
were gone.
Waterdeep. What?
I already told them that while you were gone.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I was going to.
Oh, go ahead then. That can be your fun fact.
There are a variety of factions that control the different industries and movements within Waterdeep.
Interesting.
Yeah, it has a very complicated and sort of not it's not spoken out loud, the political infrastructure. So it's very easy to get yourself in trouble doing something that is not against the law, not necessarily even doing anything wrong, but it just goes against sort of the defined way that things work. If you don't interact with the right guild at the right time to do whatever you want to do, you could get yourself in hot water, essentially. For example, if you're trying to open some sort of tavern, there are a lot of guilds that you need to interact with. And you might
the
have to
tavern
raise
thing.
money.
I
You might have to
exactly what
raise
that
money
is.
by fighting each other in a fight pit.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things. That's my second piece of trivia about Waterdeep. Things just never go quite as expected.
There is the Waterdeep's biggest industry are underground fighting pits.
It's
Oh
underground fighting
no.
pits. It's mainly underground fighting pits. You go there.
That's like 70% of the economy.
I'm looking for a child.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a girl named Shiana.
Okay. Yeah.
She knows of the worms.
So yes, she knows of the worms. So make an investigation check for me, Danny,
Okay.
to try to hunt down this information about the Ring of Winter.
Oh wait, shit! I need to re-have my character sheet. I always say this right. Ba-da-ba-da. What kind of check? I'm sorry.
Investigation.
Oh boy.
Solid.
Ah.
So the good news is there's actually a ton of information about the Ring of Winter. This is something that scholars have been interested in for a long time. The bad news is the information is not stuff that you would want to hear. Namely, the problem is it makes the wearer immune to divination magic. So makes whoever's wearing it incredibly difficult to track down. It also makes them, however, immune to cold damage, halts aging entirely, and people believe it to be the ring to essentially attempt to take control of the wearer and compel them to cause unnecessary harm. Yeah.
So immune to
That's about what you can
divination
find.
magic, cold. They don't age.
Yeah. Aging, cold.
And they just cause unnecessary harm. In what sense?
Like, it probably manifests differently depending on the wearer. So, like, if a warrior put it on, then it would probably be lead them to be excessively violent while on the battlefield. If a politician put it on, maybe it would compel them to put into place different policies that ultimately lead to people to bloodshed, to starvation, to more desperate situations. Makes you
Okay.
bad.
Okay, so the taking control is specifically negative. It's not like
Yeah, at least according to the scholar that's written this text, yeah.
okay, and then the other thing I wanted to do was just maybe ask around. Uh, like just try to get an idea. Maybe a librarian. Um, someone who might be someone who he would have talked to.
Yeah, so there is a an elvish woman who seems to be working there. She's reshelving books and such. She appears to work there. Um, she does have hair that's beginning to gray, so she's definitely been around a long time, being an elf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as you approach, she immediately kind of like before you even say anything, immediately turns to you and gives you a very warm smile and just says, "Yes. Is there anything I can help you find?"
I want to open with saying the mannequin is unbelievably touched because no one's nice to him.
Yeah, and yeah, it's what you'll find that Waterdeep is a city where people don't give a shit at all about any of that.
Yeah, and it's not that mannequin really cares that people are mean to him because it's just kind of the standard. But
Yeah,
it was just like a kind of you didn't know you had until
yeah.
kind of deal. He was just like, oh shit, what the fuck? People are nice.
Crazy.
But he's kind of like just like now like kind of approaching it from a different mood. It's just like, oh, hi. Um, I was wondering. Mannequin now stuttering for the first time in his robotic life. Um, have you heard of a guy named Artist Simber by chance?
Let's make a check for her. Yes, that's the gentleman with the fancy ring. If if I recall. I've read some of the text. I believe he did come through here a number of years ago, but I wasn't fortunate enough to meet him. My colleagues uh, speak of him from time to time. He's quite the legend around here, I would say. Why are you looking for him? I'm afraid it's been many years since he's been around.
Oh, I understand. I didn't expect him to have been around recently, but yeah, I am looking for him. He's actually he's the person responsible for creating me.
And he just abandoned you?
Yeah, he was around for a few of the years that I existed, but he just kind of left me and his son in Bryn Chandler.
All the way up there in the terrible cold. That's horrible. And you made you journeyed all the way down here by yourself to find him, and he's not here. That's just absolutely dreadful.
Luckily, I don't have to be alone in all of this. I have a group of people that I'm traveling with, but it it seems that more than just I are looking for him. He has as you already know, he has quite a valuable antique on his hands.
Yeah,
Literally.
that would be. She get like a genuine laugh to it. Like,
Fucking the only person in my life.
yeah. Hold on, my lights are freaking out. Everything's going wrong right now for everybody. Now there's a little bit more light at least. Okay. Yeah. So where were we? Oh, you have. Okay. Yeah. So you're looking for him. He has a artifact in his hand on his hands. Ha ha ha.
Like I said, the only genuine laughter in my life.
Yeah. So okay. She says, well, I can. I believe there are some books actually about him. I don't know if that would be helpful or
Anything is helpful,
make it
honestly.
worse.
I'm just looking for whatever I can get at this point.
Yeah. Give me one moment.
Take your time.
And she kind of rushes off, and eventually she comes back with a stack of books, but also on top of it a sheet of paper that you can see is actually a sketch of Artist Simber.
Holy shit.
Yeah, which, I mean, the sketch is probably not actually this good, but I'll give you the art anyway because that's cool, right? That's a fun thing to do. Art's fun.
Art is fun. I remember the
If no
first time
other
I
way.
saw visual art that made me feel something, like just viscerally, mad uncomfortable. I can't remember what fucking show. Oh, it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It was when Jake, I think, hired someone to do an abstract. Wait, was it? No, it was Parks and Recreation. Aziz Ansari hires someone to do abstract art for him, and then he's just staring at it, and he's trying to figure out why he feels something.
Except if it doesn't load, and then my life gets a lot harder here.
I'm gonna Google this shit.
Yeah, if you just Google Artist Simber, I mean, don't read more of it, but if you just Google Artist Simber, the art there is what it is.
I'm gonna image him. I'll bring it up for the stream.
As I can do it this way.
Alright, stream friends. This is the Artist Simber. We got this image search up. 2 of Annihilation. Candlekeep. I saw a picture.
None of it's true.
You don't know what you're talking about. I honestly, I know I've been to Candlekeep in something,
We were just there in Descent into Avernus.
Fuck. Okay, so it was there. Okay. See, playing 2D and I don't know how you do it, Sean. Honestly, it is shocking to me how many games you can manage at the same time. I'm in 2, and I have regularly gotten my characters and what they can do confused. Although I'm gonna solve the issue because I'm gonna third class this into Illrigger.
Actually,
Yeah, I'm going Shadow Master.
interesting ideas. We'll talk about that later.
It's gonna be the best.
I was thinking specifically when it just crashed while we were in the middle of the conversation about the hunting down the Ring of Winter information or whatever. Like over the past 2 years, my ability to just come up with insane amounts of information off the top of my head based on absolutely nothing is ridiculous. Like the ability for a player to say something and be like, "Oh my god, I have no idea," and then just open my mouth and then things start coming out that mostly make sense. It's quite the skill that I've gained mostly from DMing an alarming amount of Dungeons and Dragons. That being said, so there's the sketch of Artist Simber. But then there's also a number of books on him. And so the main piece of information that you could get is that he did have a brother, Auric. But Auric passed away a long time ago now. And he is known actually for you did get this correct, that he is, try to think of how to put this. Very interested in the island of Chult, and preserving relics and knowledge and history from the island of Chult, which is off of this map, but I think it's south. I'd have to look later, but yeah. However, he also he's through his many years on this plane has traveled basically everywhere on the continent, and is mostly a gatherer of information as well as inventing some on the side, which explains you. As far as anybody knows, he has no offspring, which you obviously know to be false, but nobody seems to know about Cyric. I get, because there's a bunch of books, so you could spend some time reading them. Is there anything in specific that you would like to know about him?
I guess any specific aspiration. Like, is there anything that anyone knew he was looking for specifically? Because, like, collector of information in general, inventor doesn't really give many clues as to where to start looking.
He spent a lot of time specifically trying to prevent the ring from falling into the wrong hands. And it seems, at least based on all of this, that he at the very least the sort of like evil taking over thing hasn't really affected him. Nobody has any records of him actually doing anything like, illegal. Obviously, he's done some shitty stuff. He left his son in this sort of far off remote town, but like he's not wanted for murder anywhere. He's never done anything like that. So it seems most of his goals are in preventing the Ring of Winter from falling into the wrong hands. However, he also is known to be interested in reuniting. This is kind of ironic. Old family members are lost, like bloodlines that don't realize they're related, that kind of thing, and using his travels across the continent to try to reconnect people that are somehow related in that way.
Huh.
I don't know my bloodline.
You don't?
I don't. It's part of my backstory.
Well, Artist Simber might be the one to figure it out for you if you ever find him.
Maybe we could use you as bait.
Maybe.
Just start really broadcasting that you're looking for your family.
Let's do it.
So, okay, so he's just He spent time connecting lost family.
He's like Ancestry.com.
Something like that, yeah.
I've thought occasionally about people reaching out to me, like my dad having just some random child that I don't know about. The thought horrifies me.
Yeah, I guess that's also the thing. Artist Simber, it doesn't seem to be like necessary. It can be a heartwarming thing, but it's also he more finds it fascinating, and with all the years that he's spent alive, right? He doesn't like the weirdness of it isn't apparent to him. It seems like the awkwardness of finding out that your grandfather had an affair and had 3 kids with some other woman. And now they're contacting you all these generations later. Like the weirdness of that doesn't compute for him because generations aren't a thing to him, if that makes sense. People just come and go.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking about how he abandoned his son. Like, if that time is nothing to you, like, why do you care?
Yeah.
That gives an interesting spin to things because he's not really on a time frame.
It's true.
Like, it's hard to track someone based on their interests if the time doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's the interesting question posed now. Like, it's gonna be hard to find him because there's no risk in him hiding. Like, if he spends however many years somewhere, who cares? Because
Yeah.
so that adds an interesting spin of the whole thing, I guess. I didn't really consider that. Immortality adds a lot of range to
Yeah.
your hiding ability. Okay, I guess I'll spend the rest of my time looking for the oldest people possible to ask if they had met him.
Make an investigation check.
Hell yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
Damn it, mannequin.
I mean, also the interesting thing is for you that like it's as a warforged, time also isn't really a thing. Age isn't really a concept that you understand fully. So
It's an interesting situation because age doesn't mean anything, but also time has been so short, and I came into the world with like a full consciousness.
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's like time means nothing, but also I've been around so shortly that time feels long.
So you get it's difficult, like you'll especially because like the different races and how long they live. So like the concept of the difference between a 70-year-old human and like a 600-year-old elf, is weird. You're kind of like a kid that like when you ask them how old they think their grandparents are, they're like 24.
Yeah, it's yeah. Time is fuck. God
So
damn it.
unfortunately, there's you don't find much in the way of leads there.
All right. Well. I've gotten what I think I can get.
Okay. Anybody who else is up to anything?
I hear
Let me
there's some
remind
nuclear
you of
things.
the different things that we've got going on here, right? So the other main one is from Duvessa Shane. Has an aunt here that is the captain of a ship called the Dancing Wave. I'll put that in here. And she wanted you to she said that she was gonna write a letter to her aunt. It's possible because you sort of expedited your travel that you might have gotten here before the letter, but yeah, her aunt's name is Enerva Coldwater. Oh, I didn't hit enter. There we go. So that's another thing you've got going on. You know what? Let's just for the sake of playing some Dungeons and Dragons, let's see what's going on in this city, right? Let's see if there's something wild happening.
Okay.
I will fully admit that maybe we've gone a bit faster than I have been expecting, but that's okay.
We kind of glazed through Neverwinter.
Yeah, which is fine. I have no problems with that at all. Somebody roll a D100 for me.
Ugh.
Damn it, I
Are
won.
they? Wait, are they not? Oh, it might be under. I see how this works. Good number, Cameron. Good number. Oh, but Dan also rolled a number. Let's see which number is better and which one I like. Not that it matters. You'll never know which one's which.
I kind of enjoy that idea about D&D. Like, a lot of, like, I know that, like, I feel like Greg really cares about, like, the real roles. But I have zero issues in my brain about a DM just deciding that someone should die or live.
Well, that's a complicated topic that we will get to after you guys deal with the fact that after you have done your investigating in the library, you're trying to go to find a tavern, but a huge crowd is beginning to build up in the street. And you're trying to peek around, you're trying to see what's going on, like what is going on, what is causing this hold up, expecting the worst. But instead, simply a wagon that was loaded with apples has lost a wheel, and now the apples are all across the street, rolling through, and people are. This must be a popular apple merchant because people are trying to get these apples.
You're probably honey.
I grab an apple.
As you go to pick up an apple, and a young dwarven girl comes over, and as you go to pick it up, just smacks it out of your hand.
Oh no. Why did
Have-
you do that?
And she just immediately runs away. Is every time everybody that she can get to that is grabbing an apple. Some people are like picking it up and like going to eat it, and she'll just like jump up and like try to knock it away from them. She's like, she is very invested in people not stealing these apples.
Hmm.
My apples, yeah. And there's a very distressed human woman who's the owner of it, and she's trying to gather up the apples, but also like the apples are kind of ruined anyway. They're rolling all over the street, but also she doesn't want to lose all these apples.
I'll try to pick up some apples without eating them.
You're just gathering them up to bring back to her.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, thank you. This is the worst thing that's happened to me all week. I don't know what to do. And she's just like picking up apples. People are getting rowdy. These apples must be really good. You see an older gentleman, looks maybe 60, comes over and actually like, even though there are plenty of apples on the ground, like is way caught up in it, and like shoves the woman away from an apple that she's going to pick up, and she drops all the apples again and has to like go pick them up.
I shove the old man.
Hey, who the fuck do you think you are?
Do you think these are your fucking apples?
They're everybody's apples now. What's the big deal? I don't understand. They're all over the ground. What's wrong with you?
You're about to be all over the ground if you don't back the fuck off and act like you're part of a society.
Shit. Says, look, man, I'm just trying to get some goddamn apples, and we'll start slowly backing away.
Yeah, get them somewhere else or with some money.
So eventually you manage to gather up all the apples, and she puts them. She has a multiple carts actually that, and so she puts them all in the carts, and she's like, "Well, I mean, I guess I could. Looks like we only lost like half of them. I mean, I guess I could wash them up a little bit. Maybe they're still okay. Thank you so much for your help again. I'm sorry. What was your name?
My name is Tony Barinsky, defender of apple carts.
A
I'm more into
title and
dab
everything.
cards.
And she gives you like a little wink. Um, well, it's not it's not usual in this town for somebody to step up and defend, somebody is a lowly apple merchant, right? If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. I mean, also have all the apples you want. I mean, of course, that goes without saying. Not from this card, not from this card. And she has the clean apple cart. She says, take from the clean apples. You
Thank you,
deserve the
thank you.
best.
I'll throw her a silver for an apple. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't care.
yeah. All right. Actually, we were trying to find out some information on artist Simber. Do you know anybody who might know about that or is old who who might have been around?
Well, I am. I've been. I don't know what you classify as old, but I do have. Actually, the reason why I'm selling all these apples is I'm trying to support my family. My great grandfather, bless his heart, 113, just will not kick the can. Uh, so
Wow.
increasing expenses, for herbs and medicines and stuff like that. So that's why I'm out here. I mean, I could ask him if you want. What kind of man is this artist Simber?
Well, first of all, I appreciate your offer. It's very kind. Second of all, he's a mysterious guy who's been traveling around for a while, and we're trying to find out where he might have gone. He was in Waterdeep a while ago, trying to find where he went.
I mean, if you want, you're all more than welcome to come and talk. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be any help, but you're more than welcome. If I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid I wouldn't know the right questions to ask. I mean, is he? You say he's mysterious. Is he? Does that mean he sort of slinks in the shadows, or is he a man of importance? What?
Um, Mannequin, you know a lot about this guy, right?
I know a fair amount. Like, we knew each other for a while.
Yeah. How would you describe him?
Well, one second, let me bring up this picture of him. Uh he's got a solid beard going, longer hair. Um
Both permanent features.
I remember him with
Kinda
some
looks like
gold and green. The same color as the Atreides. Um yeah, he's just definitely, I would imagine, the same age as I remember him if he's not aging. So a nice like kind of mahogany hair. That's not the right color.
You're doing great.
I said it, and so quickly I was like,
Okay,
why'd you say mahogany?
actually, all right. To be fair, based on the other NPC that I have open here, not even the worst because Degult never remembered here. The description of him is pumpkin brown hair. So I mean, and it says he's a lion of a man.
Wait, I changed my mind. I looked up mahogany. I was right.
I mean, it's a good word. It's just unusual for hair. Um, and what do you think he would have been in town for?
I imagine general research. That's kind of the issue we're running into. He was a man without a really specific purpose. His interests were always quite general. I think that's kind of the consequence of being seemingly immortal.
She says, "Well, why don't you know what? Honestly, why don't you? I always make more food than necessary anyway. Why don't you all come back with me, and we'll you can meet my great grandfather. Who knows? Maybe he will just by some divine favor will have crossed this man's path. It's the least I can do."
I love food.
Same.
I get it.
I'm down.
So inside, so she has a small cottage kind of on the edge of, let me get which district it would be. On it's basically it's not actually a ward. It's an area of the city known as Undercliff. And it has smaller, like almost like villages, like suburbs almost kind of thing, as well as farmland and stuff like that. So it's on the east side of the city. And it was not originally a part of the city, but when Never Ember was removed, it actually was legally brought in as part of the city. So it's a relatively new addition, I guess, essentially. So yeah, and when you walk in, it's just a nice cozy little shack kind of thing. Her this great grandfather is it's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory or whatever. Like the grandfather like is in bed, like doesn't get out of bed kind of thing. There's a small table set up. She has a husband who looks tired but he has kind eyes. And two little boys that are running around, and she makes a nice lovely stew for all of you.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
And the grandfather, he looks at he squints at mannequin number 5, and he's like, "Is that a man? Is that a boy?"
I like to refer to myself as a boy.
And I've never seen somebody with blue skin like that. And he looking at you, Breeze. Got quite the eclectic group of friends here, don't you?
Hell yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I met them all out on the street. They were all very kind to me."
Hell yeah.
I assume at a certain point you're gonna you ask him about Artisember.
Yeah.
The name does sound familiar. I actually came in contact with many of the people coming in and out of this city many years ago. I tended to the stables, so I would often take care of people's animals as they came in. And the thing I remember most about him was that he traveled with these wombats, which you don't see every day.
That's awesome.
Dave Square Poops.
Yeah, their names were let me think.
Wait, one sec. I know their names. I remember them all.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Quite
Harry,
genuinely.
Harry, Larry, and Faye.
No, they were Sneezy, Sleepy, Happy, Doc, Grumpy,
Well, the thing is, these wombats could talk.
Wait, why is Doc listed twice in this visual representation of the 7 dogs?
Fascinating stuff.
It's just 2 pictures of Doc.
Thank you.
I couldn't have expected to run into something that made me laugh that much.
Anyway, their names are Bert and Lug.
I was close.
Huh.
Bert. Lug.
They both spell them like not regular because it's fantasy shit.
It's fantasy shit, right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That could be useful information somehow to you guys at some point down the road that he had talking wombats named Bert and Lug. That seems relevant, right?
Maybe we'll feed some square poops and say, hey,
I'll jot it down.
I like how you legitimately the two numbers that you guys rolled were two of the non-violent encounter options. That's funny.
Almost made it violent.
It's true. It could have been. It could have been. Um. Yeah. So presumably you all find a place to rest.
Oh, I'm gonna pay her first for the dinner.
You don't have to pay. I was making it anyway.
Yeah, but I'm eating it. A 5 silver,
She'll.
one for each of us.
Okay. She accepts it. She said, and she's like, I swear I've never met anybody this kind in this city my entire life.
You should
Where
go
are
to the
you all
library.
from? Oh, I can't. I mean, I wish, but I can't read.
You're still
Oh,
allowed in.
I will tell you right now, it is taking everything in my mannequin power to not stay here for the next 5 years and teach you how to read.
You think it would take 5 years to teach me how to read?
It
Maybe I
takes-
was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you're secretly cruel.
I just figure children with very flexible minds.
That's true. Wait, how long does it take to teach somebody to read?
I'd be willing to bet a fair amount of time.
I don't know if it would take 5 years.
I feel like you just start to read. I don't know. This is why I can't teach.
It'd probably not take that long.
The thing is, like, how much, if the sole task of their life is learning how to read, I think it would take less time. But if you
Okay,
just,
well-
like, factor in all the tediums of everyday life.
Okay, well, this here says to be functionally illiterate, a few weeks. So,
Wait, what?
I mean, functionally
When
illiterate is
children learn
not
how to
like
read, their brain is like non. It's not a functional,
takes 7
fully
years.
formed brain, so it's harder.
Functionally literate.
7 years to learn to read.
An adult would have a much easier time.
I'm just learning to read.
Alternatively,
new research. Okay, new research published Wednesday in Science. I mean, not this Wednesday, but a Wednesday has revealed what your brain is doing when you learn to read an adult, and found that brain regions associated with ancient functions are largely responsible for our ability to read.
I'm
That
just
doesn't help me.
interested because I know, like, for example, calculus could take a full-grown adult a really long time to learn, and it takes children a very short amount of time to learn.
Yeah.
If it's taught as the, like,
Yeah, I'm with
an
you, Rob,
early
makes
form of
sense.
yeah.
This is not relevant.
No, it's not relevant, but it immediately captured my interest.
Yeah. I'm gonna look into this later. Anyway, so yeah, okay, so we're in a pretty
a
weird
DF?
spot here. Let's talk general plan. What you guys want to accomplish while you're here in Waterdeep, I mean, I'm all good for. I'm having a good time wandering around and spouting random lore about NPCs and stuff, but so that we have a defined goal for next week, maybe. So, you guys, I assume, are going to continue researching Artist Simber somehow. What else? I mean, the issue is.
I think I got a little distracted, but I'd actually, I'd like to look into, fucking something Neverember, Doggle, Neverember, a little bit more.
Do actual like research on him, like read up.
Yeah, because I figure he'd be a pretty interesting guy, because clearly he knew a lot about Waterdeep being a rule, like, and now he controls an entire city that has some interesting circumstances surrounding it.
Yeah, I will say so. Because this doesn't really bother me because we all know that we're playing in an adventure that is pre-written and stuff. The adventure does assume that you're gonna interact with more people in Neverwinter and kind of get lead up information. into Waterdeep. So it's fine that we didn't get that, but I shamelessly have to try to find ways to reintroduce that, if that makes sense to all of you. So
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah,
figured someone with that much sway was kind of important.
yeah. So we'll do that. Let me read more about the water. I'll read more in the Waterdeep section, and in the group chat over the week we will. I know. And then maybe. Okay, so here's a question. With us shifting forward a little bit to like 6:45ish, do people want to then still try to play until like 10:30 and do sort of 4 hours, or do they want to keep it to the shorter sessions and we just end earlier? Either way is fine by me, but just so that I obviously tonight we're kind of coming up short, but that's okay.
I'm fine with either. I'm pretty used to 4-hour sessions, so it doesn't bother me personally. But for people who aren't playing as much, I'd give the
Yeah, I find it hard
The
to focus
culture.
for long sessions on remote, like Roll20.
Yeah. It's definitely harder over
I feel
over
like
the
this
internet.
also would work. Like I like the length of the sessions we were doing before. I just prefer starting earlier.
Okay, so we'll plan for like to try to do like 6:45 to 9:30, 9:45 ish. Normally, is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, that's
That
totally.
gives me enough room to have multiple things maybe happen, but also isn't so long that people are struggling to focus and stuff. So I will definitely do my reading on stuff so that we're kind of prepared. I can give you guys the information that you need, and we can see what happens next next week.
All right, cool.
Alright.
Okay, I'm gonna hop off then because I ran 8 hours of Dungeons and Dragons today and I'm tired.
Definitely
So
understandable.
have
Damn.
a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you all for playing. I will talk to you soon.
All right, God
Thank you.
bless everyone.
Bye.